So I know what you might be thinking right now, and you're like, Adrian, why are you decked out in an orange shirt that says Tokyo and wearing some strange hat, which we don't know what logo is to? Well, I'm going to tell you here in a second. What today's video is about my experience at a baseball game in Tokyo, at the Tokyo Dome itself. And it is the home of the Yomuiri Giants. Logo above. Got these two guys back here. And I also have this towel. See that? Baseball in Japan. Baseball in Japan is quite an experience. I would equate it to a European soccer match. I've been to soccer matches here in Kansas City, which very lively crowd. But yeah, a baseball experience in Japan is unlike an experience I've seen here in the States. After going to the game in Japan, it was actually my third country I had been to baseball in. Here in America, I've been to at least 12 different stadiums. What's great about baseball in the States, besides everything, is the atmosphere that each stadium has. You know, different teams have different atmospheres and different parks have their different feels, which is fantastic. Watching baseball in Japan had the feel of a soccer match more than a baseball match. And the reason for that is, you know, the Tokyo Giants were playing the Hanshin Tigers, which I think is essentially Osaka Tigers. It's basically Osaka's baseball team. And those fans were perched in left field. So basically left field to center field, you had Tigers fans. They're black and gold or black and yellow, and then basically the rest of the stadium you had Giants fans. But the more rowdy of the fans sat in the right field seats, so basically center field to right field. And so basically what you had these cheering sections for were when your team was at bat, they would have different cheers for each batter. You know, I think for the most part it was cheering for whoever's at bat, so they would basically chant their names and have different clap sequences and different different cheers essentially. It was kind of hard to catch on to because, you know, each batter had about 3 or 4 appearances, so you kind of just played around with the people around you and acted like you knew what you were doing. But one thing that was pretty great was the people around us, and primarily Japanese, they were very receptive to having American fans there. I know the people around us, we had to ask some questions, you know, asking why the chants were the way they were, asking what we do with these scarves, which basically you fly them around, you know, in a circular motion. And yeah, another thing that was great about the fans around us, you know, some came straight from work, essentially. So you had people in business suits who had their towels in hand, they had their orange, and they were ready to go. Another thing about baseball in Japan is the food options there were quite interesting. How I would compare them to here in the States, I think there's better food options here in America. You know, like I was talking about, each stadium has their different, you know, local restaurants that'll have food featured. Like here in Kansas City, you'll have barbecue. I remember up in Seattle, they had these garlic fries. They were amazing. New York and Boston had their own things. Same with Chicago. In Japan, you had these boxes, basically meal boxes. I know there's a certain word for them, and I don't have that word on me. I will put that word down at the bottom here. but you had these boxes. There were, you know, 6 or 8 different boxes to choose from, and these boxes would be basically named after each player, and each player had certain food options that he liked. And I remember getting one of the food boxes. It was cold food, but it was good food. You know, I made sure to pick the proper option. Some options had more fish, some more had more beef. You know, they were just mix and match boxes based on what each player liked. It was pretty good. Pretty good overall, can't complain. I believe the Giants ended up losing that game, which I was sad about. And of course, per tradition, each baseball game I go to, I get a hat from that stadium. So of course I had to follow suit with these guys. On to the scarf. You might be wondering whose scarf this is, what scarf it is, what's written on here. I guess technically speaking, I don't know for sure what's written on here, but according to the salesperson at the team store, it is HAYATO SAKAMOTO, and he's basically one of their most popular players from what I understood. And so I got one scarf, my mom got another scarf, and then the third scarf that we have is basically autographs for each player. So I'm going to bring the mascots over. We're going to meet them because mascots are great. Here are our mascots. I brought them over. This, of course, is the Giants mascot. They actually had 5 different mascots, 5 or 6 different mascots. They had a he and she mascot. They had a grandpa mascot, which I thought was very, very funny. And then they had 2 younger, I guess, twin mascots. This guy is supposed to resemble a rabbit. So what this guy is the Yomuiri Giants GIABBIT, which is basically rabbit in Japanese. And these guys were quite lively. I'll post some pictures throughout here. But yeah, fun little thing. Fun thing I brought back. Of course, you got to do those kind of things. This guy is Too Lucky. Literally, that's his name. He is the Tigers mascot. Yeah, I don't have much information about him.
But he must, looks like the team was founded in 1985. Before I was born, that's kind of crazy.
But I had to bring him along. Hanshin Tigers, Too Lucky. Toss him aside. And the last thing I have, pretty sweet. I know it's the grand masterpiece of this video. It is a ice cream bowl from Japan. Correction, it's actually a nachos bowl, which I have to say here in the States we have a little bit better options for nachos. But throw that guy aside as well. I'll say overall, baseball experience in Japan was fantastic. Really had no complaints. That was one of our pre-planned adventures while we were in Tokyo, and did not disappoint. So if you're in Tokyo and you love baseball as much as I do, definitely make sure you can stop by and see a game and experience baseball on a different level. Different level, better, you know, it's hard to say, but on a different level than you would anywhere else. Just a great sporting event overall. So that is my video on baseball in Japan, more specifically Tokyo Yomiuri Giants baseball. Great experience, must see if you're in Tokyo. If you haven't yet, please like, comment, and subscribe. Also, I'll have my social media links below. Hit me up on Facebook. Would much like that, and I think you would as well. You know, kind of get some interaction back and forth. If you've been to a Giants game, or maybe a different game in Tokyo, or a different game in Japan, you know, comment below. Love to converse about that. Until then, I will see you in the next video. Bye.